Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, my name's Amanda. So in today's video, I've got our top 5 favorite recipes from 2023. I went through and found the ones that really were just great hits for us. Now, we made a lot of recipes that were really delicious this year, and it's very hard for me to pick a favorite, or a top 5 even, but I did narrow them down, and I'm excited to share these with y'all. It gives you a little bit of variety and some things that were just really big hits in our family, so I think you're going to really enjoy these recipes as well. But yeah, I cannot believe 2024 is almost here. I feel like the last few months have just flown by, but so I hope that y'all enjoy these recipes. Let me know if you made some really good ones this year that you enjoyed. I'd love to see what those were too down in the comments below. But let's go ahead and get into the video. So let's get started on our hot brown party rolls. And y'all, if you only make one thing out of this video, this is the recipe. These were amazing. So I've just shredded some Gruyere cheese. I couldn't find slices. The recipe called for slices. Well, I did, but it was like really expensive, and I just found a small thing of the cheese itself, and so I just shredded it. It worked just fine. So, if you have the same issue, then you can definitely do that. And I'm just going to lay my turkey here. I'm using some like lower sodium just to kind of help me out as far as on the salt aspect, because that is one thing that this kind of does have, a lot of cheese, a lot of things like that. So I love that you have options of lower sodium meats and stuff like that for deli meats. And we're just going to top that with some tomatoes. I tried to kind of get it as even as I could, as far as like, where it wouldn't be like, be more towards, one per each sandwich. But I did the best I could anyway. And we're going to also add some bacon on top of that. And I've just got some bacon that I cooked in the oven. And then I just kind of chopped it up into some pieces. And I'm just going to lay that on top of there. You could, do this however you like if you wanted to do strips. It's just easier to cut in between the sandwiches if you kind of have it already chopped smaller like this. And once we get that done, we're actually going to sprinkle some more of the Gruyere cheese on top and a little bit of Parmesan as well. Then we're just going to put the tops of our rolls on, and then we're going to get our topping mixed, with the butter and all the good stuff in there. Now this calls for melted butter, Dijon mustard, dried minced onion, Worcestershire sauce, I probably butchered that, but light brown sugar, just a tad of that, some grated garlic, and a little bit of hot sauce. Now I will tell you, I cut back the butter on this a little bit, and I will cut it back even more. I don't think you need more than maybe like half a stick to 3/4 a stick. This was a lot of butter, and I can't even believe how much butter it would have been if I'd have put the whole thing on there. So, but that's really the only change I think I would recommend on these. Now you just pour it on top. I'm using my pastry brush to kind of spread it around a little bit. Now these bake in a 375 degree oven for about 15 minutes covered with foil, and then you take the foil off and let them bake for another 8 to 10. I think I did 10 minutes, and they got a little brown in spots, a little dark, so I would probably check them around 7 or 8 minutes and then see. Ovens are so different, so it's always best to check them a little early. But then, you just go ahead and cut them up, and these are so easy. You can make them the day ahead and then just do the butter topping right before you bake them. I just love all the different slider variations. I think it's so fun to try to make different things and try different ones, because they're such fun little sandwiches, and you can just have them to snack on, or you can even have them as part of your meal. It's like they're so versatile, and these were absolutely delicious. I honestly cannot recommend this recipe anymore. They were so good. But if y'all have a favorite slider recipe, let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for new ways to do these sliders, because I think they're just so fun. And they're great for appetizers, if you're having get-togethers, and most of them can be made ahead. I know these could, so it's such a handy thing to be able to do that. And especially when you're trying to put several things together for a get-together, you can do as much as you can ahead of time, and it's such a time saver the day of. But definitely try these, y'all, and if you do, let me know. So very good. So next, I've got my twist on that viral TikTok sandwich. I've seen this everywhere, and it looked like my perfect kind of sandwich, because I love, I'm a type person that if I go to Subway, I asked for more veggies. I want more veggies on my sandwich than I do meat. So I love like almost like a vegetable sandwich with a little bit of meat. And so I knew this would be something I would enjoy. So I'm just cutting up some red onion, kind of, trying to slice it fairly thinly. I'm also going to cut up some tomatoes because I always have to have tomatoes on my sandwich. I absolutely love tomatoes, especially like when they're in the summer and you get, farm fresh tomatoes. Those are definitely the best kind. But I'm going to add some mayonnaise to my bowl, and I did not go by a recipe. It's just based on what I've kind of seen from people. I'm also adding some Italian seasoning and then some red wine vinegar. And I will tell you that like when I have gotten Subway sandwiches, I actually get like extra vinegar on mine. I don't even do the oil. I love that tangy taste to it. And especially since I tried to watch my sodium, that vinegar can like kind of compensate for salt because it gives you that kind of tanginess to it. And I've just got some shredded lettuce here I'm putting in here, and I'm just making, like I said, just kind of doing my own thing. I didn't measure proportions. I feel like this is something you can very easily like taste it, and if you want a little more vinegar or whatever. So I've just got a little bit of my onion in there, the lettuce, the mayonnaise, the Italian seasoning, and the vinegar. And once I've kind of made sure it looks kind of about what I want it to look like, I'm going to go ahead and put some mayonnaise on my bread. And I actually like to toast my like meat up and stuff like that. I just like, even when I've gotten sandwiches out places, I love it when I can get it like toasted. And so I'm going to go ahead and put, mayonnaise on the side that doesn't have any meat. And then I've got some turkey, and I actually used also some chicken, like chicken lunch meat. The turkey I use is actually no salt added, and so I love that. And then I add a little bit of the chicken that does have salt in it, so it kind of adds a little bit of flavor there. But I've got that toasted. I just put it under the broiler, and I just think it makes such a difference on sandwiches. It makes it so good, and that cheese all nice and melty. And I'm just going to top it with my lettuce mixture. When I say that I am obsessed with the sandwich, I cannot explain how obsessed with the sandwich I am, because it is the most delicious sandwich I think I've ever had. I would take this over any sandwich I've had out anywhere. It is so good. And that salad, I would almost just eat that salad just by itself. It's so good. So I cannot recommend this enough. Like, if you like sandwiches, and this is such an easy, I know you're broiling the meat, but you don't have, or broiling the sandwich part, but you don't have to do that. As it gets hotter through the summer, it would be a great thing to make so that you don't have to heat up your kitchen. But y'all, you've got to try this. It is so good. I wish I had one right now because it is one of my favorite things ever to eat. So let's get started on the tomato, cheddar, and beef macaroni. And this is a family favorite, so this time I went ahead and doubled the recipe. And y'all, this is such an easy recipe, so delicious, so quick and easy. It's a one-pot meal. I love one-pot meals because that means you only have to dirty up one pot, so not a ton of things dirty. And I've just got my onion chopped, and we're going to go ahead and saute that over medium heat. Then I'm going to add in my ground beef to this. I already had ground beef cooked, but if you were actually going to brown your ground beef, you'd want to go ahead and add it in this step and then brown that up with the onion. Now, I like my onion with a little bit of bite to it when in a recipe like this to kind of have some contrast to the different textures and everything. So I didn't overly saute it for a long time or anything. If you want it more softened, definitely let it go longer. It's just personal preference. So sometimes I'll depending on the recipe, I'll let it go longer. Sometimes I kind of go shorter because I want a little bit of crunch still left. So, and we've also got some garlic we're putting in here, and we're just going to saute that for a minute. Now, the original recipe, I used water before when I first made this, but anymore I've gotten to where a lot of times if a recipe calls for water, I go ahead and replace it with broth of some kind. Depends on what I feel like is going to work in that recipe. So I did use beef broth and then diced tomatoes. I prefer the petite diced ones. I like them smaller like that. And you want some basil, garlic, and oregano in it. I didn't have the tomatoes that had that in it, so I went ahead and added the basil, garlic, and oregano to just the tomatoes there because, that's pretty much the same thing. So it all works. We're going to go ahead and add in our macaroni noodles, our elbow macaroni, and just go ahead and bring this to a simmer and then cover it and it's going to cook for about 10 minutes or until the macaroni has, cooked to your liking. So super easy. You really can't ask for anything quicker or easier. You can definitely do this faster than you can go through a drive-through. So you also want to go ahead and once it gets done, add some cheese in. I just usually use sharp cheddar cheese, but you can use whatever is your favorite. I've only tried it with cheddar, so I don't know what it would taste like with something else. But I will say I feel like this gives me almost like a homemade hamburger helper, but it doesn't taste like like the cheeseburger macaroni one or anything like that, because obviously you've got the tomatoes and all that stuff. But it's just a really good recipe and something quick and easy. And I tell you, sometimes when you get off work and you're done for the day and you're like, okay, I just need something fast that we can all eat and, get everything else done that we need to get done. And this is definitely one of those recipes that are great for those busy nights. So highly recommend this. It's absolutely delicious. And one pot, again, that's the thing I think is the worst about cooking is the dishes. I mean, do y'all agree? Let me know in the comments below, but I feel like I love cooking. It's the dishes. So I truly feel that I may be one of the last people to ever make Mississippi chicken. I've seen it so many times and it's always looked so good. It's always been in my mind. I need to make that, I need to try that. Cannot believe I waited so long. It was absolutely delicious. Now I will warn you, it can be kind of high in sodium. So I took shortcuts where I could on that. I actually used my homemade ranch dressing mix. I'll have that linked in the description box below. It's on my blog. But that has no salt in it whatsoever. And so that kind of helped on that. And then I found the lowest sodium au jus gravy mix package I could find. And I used that. I also used less of the pepperoncini juice that the recipe calls for. Partly because I didn't want it super spicy or anything like that. I wasn't sure if it would make it spicy. And some of the reviews of this recipe that I'm using said to use less of that juice. So I took that hint and went ahead and did that. And I think I forgot to say at the beginning, but we did lay the onions down on top and then put the chicken breast on top of that. I will tell you that we will definitely be making this again. I probably will cut the butter in half because I'll be honest, I didn't see the benefit of a whole stick of butter, but that's just me. So I probably will maybe do half a stick or something just to make it a little more healthier. And we put our chicken broth and 1/4 cup of the pepperoncini juice in there. And then I'm also just going to make some mashed potatoes because obviously I feel like you've got to have a vessel for those juices that are in that crock pot. And what better vessel than mashed potatoes? So that's definitely, to me, a must-have side with things like this. This is, to me, very comfort food. I love crock pot meals that are different. I know a lot of them have, cream of soups and stuff like that. And so I love finding recipes that are a little different and don't necessarily have that type of stuff. Not that I don't, like cream of chicken type soups and stuff like that. They're okay, too. But it's just nice to have something different. So I've got my chicken here, my mashed potatoes. I just took out the juices out of the crock pot. I was going to make a gravy, actually thicken it a little bit, but I didn't end up doing that. And I'll be honest with you, it really didn't need it. It was really good like it was. So if you want to thicken it up, you definitely could. But it also isn't a necessity. It's really good, especially with those onions in there. Oh my goodness. But I love onions. So that was delicious. And then I had green beans, of course. To me, mashed potatoes, green beans, comfort food side items like that to me. So this was great. I cannot recommend it enough. So now we're going to go ahead and get into our spinach artichoke dip. Y'all, I have loved this forever. I've actually don't think I've ever made spinach and artichoke dip, but it's so simple. I can't believe I've never done it. But in that bowl, we added some cream cheese, a block of cream cheese that I microwaved and kind of got good and soft. And then some mayonnaise, 1/2 cup of mayonnaise, 1/2 cup of sour cream. And we're going to go ahead and add our spinach that's been thawed. Well, I just did it in the microwave and then squeezed all the liquid out of it. And I've got these were actually marinated artichokes. And so I actually put those in there. I kind of got worried about it after a while. I was like, I've never tried marinated ones. So I was like, I hope it turns out okay. But it did. So if you have marinated ones on hand, they will work. Or at least the ones I had worked. And then we also put in some garlic and some Parmesan cheese. I totally forgot to cut up the artichokes. So I did use scissors to cut those up. It was super simple. So if you forget, it's super easy to rectify. Now, I did not feel like the mixture had enough spinach, so I actually got some more spinach and put in there. And then it started looking like, spinach dip should, I feel like. And we're going to go ahead and put this in our baking dish and bake it at 350 degrees for about 20 minutes, or just until it's hot and bubbly. I actually ended up, I think, cooking it a little longer. Y'all, this was so good. I cannot even tell you. It was amazing. I just ate it with like tortilla chips. And that's my favorite way to eat spinach dip. But I know some people even do, like the French bread or Italian bread or something like that, maybe toasted or whatever. And of course, we're just topping it with just a little bit of Parmesan cheese on the top so that you have that nice little Parmesan on top. This was so good and so simple. I just can't get over it. I cannot believe I've not made it before. Thank y'all so much for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed these recipes. I just, like I said, I can't believe that the year is almost finished. So I hope y'all have a really blessed and happy New Year's. And do you have any kind of New Year's traditions that you do? We don't do a lot for New Year's, but one thing we do always make sure we do is we have a toast with the little sparkling grape juice, and the kids really like it. I tolerate it. I'm not a huge fan, and so that's something fun that we do. But I'd love to hear if y'all have any traditions for New Year's. I hope you've also all had a really blessed, holiday season and got to spend some good time with family and friends and all that good stuff. I hope 2024 is a great year for you. Lots of blessings and lots of good things. I know that I just appreciate y'all so much, so thank y'all for joining me each and every time I post a video. I also enjoy chatting with y'all in the comments, so thank you for that too. But I hope y'all have a blessed day wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next one.